This morning on Inside the Game, a weekend recap of the MLS and what happened here on the National Soccer Network. The Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association have released Week 4 of the boys' rankings. That and much more coming up right now.
Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and happy Monday. It is the 15th day of September. It is episode number 158 here on the National Soccer Network and Inside the Game. I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Ryan Glinsky. And Nathan Wangler is out west here this morning. He has traveled into Cedar Rapids, Iowa, I believe, as the Whitecaps, who are just one game away from winning a national championship. A championship. They're one win away from winning a championship, one of their most historic seasons on record. And Nate Wangler is there joining them on the call here tomorrow as they get ready for Game 2.
The Midwest Championship.
Midwest Championship. There you go. But either way, we're happy to have you here on this Monday morning. A lot to get to here today. We're going to dive into the MLS here this morning. It's Week 33 is what took place here this weekend. A lot of scoring would be, I think, an understatement of what we've seen so far in the score lines this weekend. We will dive into what happened here on our network this weekend. We had the league, the Four Nations Cup, MASL here this weekend. We had U.S. Open Cup game along with some UPSL action as well. So we'll dive into that. The Michigan High School boys soccer rankings are out once again. We'll dive into those here like we do every single Monday over the last 4 weeks. And an interesting story that came out of Farmington Hills. We'll dive into that too this morning. But before we do that, Ryan, me and you are wearing kind of the colors of this weekend. You could not participate for us on Saturday because you were at the University of Michigan watching your Chippewas, who lost by what, 60 points? Was it 60? Was it 62-3 or 60-3?
63-3.
So lost by
Give up
a nice
9 touchdowns.
Even 60 points. Bryce Underwood looked like the second coming of Tom Brady this weekend.
The second coming of Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was not a good one for my boys in the maroon and gold. However, we got to tailgate a little bit on the golf course, so that was a lot of fun. Got a lot of free food. Had a couple of drinks. Ran into a bunch of people from Central Michigan as well, and so it was good to catch up with them. And then went to a bar. We actually didn't go to the game. We just went to the bar to watch the game. And was not fun.
You didn't even go to the game?
No.
You just tailgated and then
went to the bar. Yeah, so my family, my family has they tailgate on the golf course. So they have season tickets for I think since Harbaugh's been there. So I couldn't tell you exactly. But they tailgate on the golf course every single home game, and they have a riot. They have a great time. And it was a great little setup for us, and got to see some people I haven't seen in a while. My great uncle was there. My little cousin, who I got to watch him play football on Thursday, but he was there. A couple of my cousins and a couple of buddies, and yeah, it was a great time. Outside of the result, I did bet Central Michigan to cover the spread, which was 27.5. I really thought we had a shot there, and they lost by 60. So let's safe to say I didn't win money that day. But it was only like $7, so it wasn't that big in the end. But no, it was a great day. CMU.
Well, I mean, that's what you... yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean, they didn't come out a big loser. I mean, there's a big fat paycheck they get for playing.
Yeah, they
these
did get
games,
$1.5 million.
right? That obviously huge, right? And I think that's the thing that when you're like, well, why do these teams even play? Well, it's all money.
Yeah, because they pay you to play there.
Yeah.
Like there was, I forgot, Notre Dame or Northern Illinois went Notre Dame last year and won, and they got like $2 million and they got a victory. I mean, that's the biggest win-win ever. I mean, honestly, couldn't. And I've had a rough week of being a Chippewa. You know, I'm getting made fun of by the head coach of the Western women's soccer team about not getting in. Then I sent it to my family, and they're all roasting me, and then they get killed on in football on national television. So just great weekend to be a Chippewa. Great.
Yeah, it definitely was. We have a good show coming up here this morning. We are live right now on a lot of different places. You can watch us on TikTok, on Instagram. We're also obviously on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and live on Roku TV on the National Soccer Network .tv as well. So you can catch us in a lot of different places this morning. When we come back, we'll dive into the MLS here. A lot to talk about in regards to that. We'll get into the Eastern and Western Conference standings. You're watching episode number 158 here of Inside the Game.
Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins NLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts to regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game here on this Monday morning. Jonathan Turner alongside Ryan Glinsky. Again, Nate Wangler out west here this morning.
Out west is in Iowa, not California.
We'll talk about a crazy weekend in the MLS. A hat-trick-heavy Saturday shook up the MLS stretch run as Charlotte FC tied the league's single-season win streak mark. They've won 9 in a row so far. Vancouver demolished Supporters Shield leaders Philadelphia behind Thomas Mueller's birthday treble, and the Crew survived a 9-goal thriller in Atlanta. It was a very, very, very busy weekend. We talk about this. We'll break these down here. Charlotte won 3-0 over Inter Miami. Again, they rolled into a 9 straight victory to match the post-shootout era record. Right, so the post-shootout era record. So that's 9 in a row.
Clearly, they didn't play defense and took the over in that game. So
correct. It's crazy to think about how many. I mean, that was a 3-0 victory, right, over Inter Miami. Vancouver wins 7-0. right? 7-0. Thomas Mueller turned 36 and bagged his first MLS hat trick as the Whitecaps clinched a playoff berth with a statement win over the league leaders in the Philadelphia Union. LAFC gets a 4-2 victory over San Jose. Son Heung scored inside the first minute, and Dennis Buenga completed his hat trick.
Dude, what happened this weekend?
All right, here we go. Columbus, 5-4. Columbus, Diego Rossi recorded a first-half hat trick at the Crew race to a 5-0 lead. It was 5-0. Then held off a furious five-stripes rally that ended Atlanta's playoff hopes. So they were up by 5 to scored 4 goals. I was talking about taking your foot off the gas and then just letting a whole bunch of other stuff in. FC Cincinnati, which we heard about what happened this weekend with the whole TQL stadium and that barbecue joint down in Cincinnati, losing their sponsorship. They won 2-1 over Nashville. Evander struck 8 minutes into stoppage time to clinch Cincy's postseason berth at TQL Stadium. NYCFC, they won 3-1 over Chicago. Nico Fernandez Mercado and Alonso Martinez put City ahead before the 17-year-old Seymour Reed iced it in stoppage time. That game was at Soldier Field. So both Chicago's lost this weekend.
So I just chat GPT'd. I don't know if you said it, but I just chat GPT'd how many goals were scored this past weekend.
I just did the exact same thing. Why are you're doing? I wanted to get. Let's get through these things, and we're going to announce it.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good.
I'm waiting for. It's still telling me it hasn't actually done it yet, but all right. But I do like where your head's at, man. We think alike here at the National.
Yeah, I had the answer, so we're good. We're good.
All right, FC Dallas. Let 2-0 over Austin. Petar Musa scored 91 seconds in, and Bernard Camungo added the second as Dallas took the Copa Tejas. Is it Tejas Derby? Is that right? Tejas? It's Tejas. I'm assuming it's Tejas. It's a
I'd say
silent J.
Tejas.
Yeah. All right. St. Louis City wins 2-0 over Montreal. Conrad Wallam in the 11th and Marcel Hartel in the 55th delivered a needed away shutout at Stade Saputo. Real Salt Lake, 2-1 over Sporting KC. Diego Luna and Alessandro.
I did see that.
Alexandros Catranas powered RSL to a skid-snapping win at America First Field. Tied in Seattle, 2-2. LA Galaxy erased a 2-goal deficit. New England tied 1-1. Theo Cabano put TFC ahead in the 75th minute, and then it was tied up late by Laguna to split the points in Foxborough. DC United also tied with Orlando City. Alex Freeman's second-half equalizer salvaged a road draw after United went down to 10 men. How many goals were scored this weekend?
57, which ties a record, ties, what did it say? Ties the record for most goals scored in a weekend, or actually in a whole day, actually. So August 6th, 2022, they had 57 goals, and there was 57 goals this past weekend. So, yeah, they clearly did not decide to play defense for whatever reason. And then 3 players scored a hat trick this weekend, as you mentioned. First time ever in MLS history that 3 players have scored a hat trick on the same day. So, yeah, clearly no defense was played. I don't know if it's because it's late in the season and they're starting to not care. But, I mean, we'll see. Maybe that's also why people want promotion and relegation later on down the line for things like this not to happen. But, yeah, 57 goals in one day. That's crazy.
It's beyond crazy. Let's take a look here at the current Eastern Conference standings. Philadelphia sits obviously atop the table. 57 total points. They've played 30 games. They're 17-7-6. FC Cincinnati sitting there in second. Again, these teams have already clinched a playoff berth. Charlotte FC did that this weekend with their 9th straight victory. We talked about that. They are 12-2-1 at home as Charlotte. Points per game, though, they're averaging 1.77 points per game. Philadelphia averaging 1.9. So just goes to show you how that looks. Nashville is currently sitting inside. The top 7 will make their way into the playoffs, I believe, on each side of the bracket. And so New York City is sitting there at 7th, along with Orlando, Columbus, and Nashville up that table. Look at the Western Conference now. San Diego currently has 56 points. They're 1 point behind that of Philadelphia in the total points for the entire league. They are 17-8. Minnesota United, who had a goal, one of the goals we saw in that game was like a 50-yard shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the goalkeeper came out, made a play, and then they end up putting the ball in the back of the net from about 50-plus yards out. Vancouver currently sitting third. Again, they've clinched a playoff berth. They have 52 points. Seattle in fourth. LAFC is 44th. It's fifth with 44 points. Portland in sixth with 42. And Austin is in seventh with 41. So, that is your look at your Eastern and Western Conference of the MLS.
Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here of the season for the playoffs. But also, mind you, up on the docket for the MLS this week is tomorrow that there is the U.S. Open Cup semifinals. Nashville taking on Philadelphia. And then on Wednesday, the other semifinals with Minnesota taking on Austin FC. And so, again, we're getting down towards the end here of the MLS. But I kind of want to know how the MLS is going to work next summer. Of course, the World Cup is here. And if you kind of go back to the 2022 Qatar World Cup, that was in the middle of all the European seasons. And they started their season a little bit earlier and they ended a little bit later. So I wonder if that's going to be kind of the same with the MLS, because they also got to use all their stadiums. So it's not like that stadium crew is in all their stadium staff. They're still going to be going because they have to get through all the stadiums. But I'm curious on how to see the MLS, what they're going to do next summer in terms of their scheduling, how they plan on doing it. Do they maybe shave off a couple of games? Maybe in the playoffs, do they eliminate a round or something like that? Maybe instead of playing 2 times in a cup round, they just play 1. So interested to see what they do for that. But again, we're getting down towards the end here, and a new champion will be crowned. I'm sure a lot of people really hope that it's not Inter Miami, because they seem to be the villain around these parks in the MLS.
Yeah, and right now Miami is currently sitting 8th in that Eastern Conference. So they're
in a play-in spot.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, because again, I think there's 9 is the line for that play-in, right? Because they're going to take 8 teams from each side. So
8-9 play each other, and then gotcha.
No, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, 7 and 8, 9 are both in the play-in spot?
No, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, my kids do it to me all the time, man. Dad
joke 101.
No, my kids are the ones who are doing it more than I am. Well, it doesn't matter. Either way, here's what we're going to do. We just got through our MLS conversation. We're going to dive into what happened here this weekend on NSN coming up here on the other side of this break. It's episode number 158 here on the National Soccer Network.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game. Jonathan Turner alongside Ryan Glinsky again. Nate Wangler is out west in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I know we're going to continue to pick on Nate for a bit because he and if you haven't watched our previous shows, you got to go back and watch last week. Nate did mention on the air that he was going to go out west, and so
he said it confidently. It's not
he's
not like, oh, I'm heading out. Like, he didn't say it in a joking manner. He's like, yeah, I'm heading out west next week, and we're like, where? Like, you're going to like California? He's like, Iowa.
I think it's safe to say that Nate's been on a plane one time in his life, from my understanding. I think just once, right? So I think that not, and I would imagine there's probably a lot more people out there that have not done a tremendous amount of traveling, whether that be in a plane or going out to a whole bunch of different parts of the world. And so I think that there are I've traveled. I've been out west. I've been to California now. At least I've been 4 times in my lifetime. I've been to California. So I can tell you that I've been out west. Okay. So I've also been to Wisconsin, Minnesota, which is west of Michigan, but not out west. I've been through, I haven't been through Iowa, but I've driven through Illinois up to Wisconsin to Minnesota and back. And so I can tell you that I've gone west. I've been out west as well. I think that maybe that might be more of it, to be fair.
I mean, I've been west. Coming here, I go west every single day. So I'm going west every single day. But I've been to the furthest west I've been is to Nevada. Went to Las Vegas for a soccer tournament back in February of 2020. So right before the world took a crap with COVID and everything. But now I've been to west. I've been on a plane 2 or 4 times, I guess, if you count the round trip. So I've been to Florida there and back. So that's twice, and then to Las Vegas there and back, so that's twice. So 4 times, I guess, I've been on a plane, but I've only been to 2 different spots on a plane. Typically, we kind of just drive. So we went to a couple of summers ago, we went to Hilton Head. We drove down to Knoxville. We drove, and then So I've only been on a plane 4 different times then, but I've been to the real out west in Vegas.
No question about that. We're going to dive in now to some of our highlights here from this weekend. We're going to start with Detroit Metro FC. They had their home opener here in this fall as they took on Duca FC here again on Saturday. Take a look there at the final score. It's 5-2 in favor of Duca. We do have some of the match highlights that we'll bring in here right now. And this is something that me and you were talking about prior to the start of our show, is that Detroit Metro is a brand new league here, or a brand new team in the last 6 to 8 months here in Michigan. Their head coach, Alex Lubianski, Jeff Tripoli is one of the owners. They've done a really good job. If you look at all those banners around the field, I mean, there's not a lot of teams locally that could have those many banners around a pitch. And so they've really done a good job here in the early going of their
really nice
team. But the one area that they're really struggling in right now is just getting victories. And but again, I think with time they'll get there. They've got some good players on their team. Max Rigover Jr. Has been a staple on that team. He also played in NISA when they were part of Gold Star Detroit. And so you've got some of the pieces. It's just they have to put it together and get some victories. But they did fall here on Saturday by a score of 5-2 here at home. Their home is the Legacy Sports Center in Brighton, Michigan, where they play their games.
Yeah, so you said this is their inaugural season for Detroit?
Inaugural year, yeah. They opened up in the spring in the UPSL, and they actually started off pretty well. They actually won their first game, I believe. And then I think they even won their second game, and then the wheels kind of fell off. I think that not in a negative way, but they just couldn't find a way to keep that rhythm going, and ultimately finished, I believe, below 500 in that first season.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a couple of these highlights. There's some really nice goals being scored in this game, but I really think that, with the emergence of DCFC, I just happened to be wearing their hoodie today. But I think with the emergence of them, and especially with the new stadium that's being built, Lumnify Field, I don't know exactly what year it's supposed to be done, but it seems like if you're trying to build an amateur, not an MLS soccer team in the city of Detroit now, or in the area of Detroit. It seems like it's a little bit of a losing battle now with how well DCFC is being ran and being put up into the higher ranks of the USL. And, tons of people go to these games over the year. And, you have the new stadium being built, whether we talked about that like a month or two ago about if that's sustainable, if they're able to sustain this and it's going to create a little bit of a profit or how long it will. I know it's privately funded and privately owned, but if you're kind of owning an amateur soccer team, I think really unless you're a parent of one of the players or a family member of one of the players or one of the owners and coaches, and the only other factor I see people going to these games is if you're right around the corner. I don't really see a ton of people making it to these games. I don't. But that's like, I remember, doing the Macomb Union games this year, and a lot of the fans were just parents of coaches. And the only time there was a really good amount of people was when DCFC came to town for the women's game against Macomb Union. But other than that, I don't know if it's a sustainable now. I know it's their first year, so they got to continue to get it going, but I don't know how sustainable it is in the long term.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it's one of those things where I think if you put a good product on the field, and I think if you can create a good atmosphere, I think people will show up for that. The key isn't always about getting the stands full. It's getting people to come back, right? Mm-hmm. I think the environment will create a following, right? And they've done a pretty good job of that. They have a DJ there now. They're doing other things that will help kind of create that really cool environment that people want to come be a part of. It is the fall, so there's some competition with school and the things
football.
That happen, football that's happening right now. But I think they draw a pretty good crowd to those events. And so I think long term they'll be okay. But in the short term, I think we start looking at, hey, well, they were 4-5, 4-5-1, I believe. Yeah, they had 4 wins, 5 losses, 1 tie in their spring season. They've started off this season, they're 0-1. And so we'll keep an eye on it. Well, obviously, we're their official broadcast partner, so we'll have all those games on our nationalsoccernetwork.tv and Roku here this fall, so keep an eye out for that. We will dive now into the U.S. Open Cup here. Take a look at the highlights. That in a second. Wisloka, Chicago came away with a 3-0 victory over Chicago Strikers here at the College of DuPage here on Saturday night. This was a qualifier, so this is the teams here around the country who have said, hey, we want to participate in this U.S. Open Cup, which we're seeing the semifinals taking place right now. They are trying to qualify, and so this was a lot of different things, I would say, on Saturday. It was physical at times. It was a little chaotic at times, but a great ball coming in here that was Dizadinovic, and then Kylar puts this one in the back of the net to makes it 1-0 in the 42nd. And we saw a number of really good chances here, and this is another one here is Merkel puts one in the back. He had just stepped on the field there in the 57th minute, by the way. So he had just
first
come
touch
in,
of the game,
basically. And so this was a chance here from number 22, Zakarski. He almost put that one in
I
there.
know you want to shout out your graphic. Shout out your graphic.
Oh, yeah. Well, the graphics should look good, man. I got to say, they look just like the U.S. Open Cup graphics if you were to watch it on anywhere else. But this is the final goal of the game, 84th minute. Michael Shaflarski slides one past the goalkeeper there in Partida, and they walk away with a 3-0 victory. They move on. They actually might play Detroit Metro FC.
Oh.
Yeah, so they might actually play them here in the next round. We'll hopefully learn more about that here in the coming weeks. Hopefully they will travel here to Michigan so we can bring you that coverage. But yeah, that was what took place here. We had some Rochester Christian matchups as well on Friday. Those games, we just didn't have a highlight package of them here available this morning. The MASL had their Four Nations Cup here this weekend. It was taking place at the Front Wave Arena in San Diego. Those games were on our platform. We just didn't create a highlight package. They were straight pass-throughs onto our channel as they were handled by the MASL in Front Wave Arena. Games last night, USA versus Mexico was the final.
Oh?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you ask yourself, like, do these games matter in these environments? I would say absolutely they matter, but I'm curious your thoughts on a tournament outside of the season, kind of more in preparation for the season. Maybe not with your core rosters. There was $10,000 on the line, by the way.
Okay. You asked my opinion. I think that especially when I think there might be a little bit of a difference when you kind of put your home nation crest on your jersey. I believe that they had like the USA or Mexico kind of crest on their jersey. Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure, but obviously it's not the biggest stage in the world. And it's not like these guys are, playing in the MLS or overseas or anything like that. But I think that there is still a little bit of pride and passion when it comes to putting on your home crest, or you're representing your country, because you are representing your country. I know it's at a smaller scale, but you're still representing your country, and you want to put on a showing for your country. And I know when I was, playing soccer in a youth, and, we had our travel sport team, and, I, took pride in that as well. But it seemed like when I put on my high school jersey that there seemed to be a little bit more amped up energy and a little bit amped up more passion, because you're representing more than just yourself and your team. You're representing your whole school, the staff, the faculty, the other students, in the whole district, and you want to put on a show for them and represent to the state of Michigan, that I'm repping Anchor Bay High School, and trying to put our district on the map. And you're still doing that, but this time it's just at your country. It's a smaller scale, I know, but I think there is a sense of pride. And I think even though at a smaller level, I think at any level, whether it's a different sport or anything, or whether it's a different type of a contest, I think that there's tons of pride, and people take great joy in representing their country or hometown, whatever it is.
No question about that. So last night in that final match between USA and Mexico did end up claiming the victory here. They won 6-3 in that game. It was a spirited game. Brazil did end up claiming the third place game over Colombia earlier in the afternoon. There are 4 games that took place here this weekend on our platform and as part of the MASL. We also covered hockey this weekend, and now that was on Sports Nation TV. That's our sister platform.
Can I put the highlight package in here?
Yeah, absolutely, my guy. Yeah, absolutely. So here's what we're going to do. Let's step aside while you do that. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll dive into that, and we'll dive into the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Week 4 rankings and who moved into first place. Any changes, we'll dive into that here on the other side of the break. You're watching 158 this morning on the National Soccer Network.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs. From high-quality production to exceptional coverage, we ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today. Call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast, and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game on this Monday morning, September the 15th. And I am John Turner alongside Ryan Glinsky. Let's take a look here at some of the highlights from this past weekend on Sports Nation TV, our sister platform, where the PPP, the Performance Prep, Peak Performance Prep Hockey League out of Rhode Island. And this was a game between the Junior Blues and the White. And Ryan, you were the one that called this game. So why don't you tell us what happened?
I still don't know how that was a goal. So we were really confused. We didn't know that was the first goal of the game. I said it was a save. We didn't know where the goal actually went in, but this one was from the power play on the left side. And the power play was a big factor in this game. Team White, I believe, was like 0 for 5 on the day. And then there was a goalie on Team White, the Bird was his last name, and he made some incredible saves, as you just saw that one right there. And there's a couple other ones that he makes, I believe, in the second period that was unbelievable. They were some fantastic saves. But the Junior Blues ultimately, they went up 3-0, and they took advantage of that power play. They scored on their one opportunity, I believe. I think they went 1 for 2, and then there's a goal right there, kind of a scrum right in front of the net. And it made it interesting. And then the Junior Blues, I believe, made it.
Are we yellow right now, by the way? Look at our Roku. Are we yellow on VMix?
No.
No? Okay. I was just curious. Go ahead. Sorry. I thought we went. I know.
No, you're good.
I lost my internet, my computer, so I was.
Oh no, you are good. But yeah, this is a goal, made it 3-2, and then this was the insurance goal by the Junior Blues. London McDonald had the goal, and he's one of the players that I highlighted. And then within seconds, as you'll see, that goal was scored about 8:58, and then this was a goal right after. 8:30 is when this goal goes in, and it became interesting for the final 8 minutes, 4-3. However, the Junior Blues ultimately come out victorious, and they get their first win of the season. And John, I've really enjoyed my time calling the Peak Performance Prep hockey games. They're all high scoring, tons of energy. The playing level is at a high level, but man, it is great to see, and it's about every single weekend, I think, up until November that we have games. So yeah, definitely tune in. It's a great level of hockey, and these kids, I believe they're about high school age. They are really, really talented.
That they are, and it's been a pleasure doing that, and we'll continue to have. I think we've done so far. We did 4 on Saturday, 2 yesterday, so 6. We did 15 the first weekend, so we've already done 22 games. We still have about 60 more to go, so we are excited about that coverage. Let's dive here into the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association Week 4 high school rankings. We'll start here in Division 4.
Oh, Division 4.
Yeah, always go 4. 4 always goes first.
I had one queued up.
So Liggett continues to hold there at number 1. They are 7-0. They remain perfect, typically enough to hold the top line. Chasing the pack is Plymouth Christian at number 2, and Grenville Calvin Christian, who's 9-2-2, keeping that pressure on, while Lansing Christian 9-2 stays within striking distance. The quality climbers here, the Relic Shrine, are 10-1. They look like a riser on a sheer volume of wins. Roper is 8-1, fits the same profile, just outside the top 10. Honorable mentions: Clinton, Maple City, Glen Lake. They both have pretty good records. Clinton's 10-1. Maple City Glen is 8-2. They hit the top 5: Liggett, Plymouth Christian, North Muskegon, Calvin Christian, Lansing Christian. So there are your top 15 high school boys rankings here for Division 4. Take a look here now at Division 3. As we dive into that, Country Day still stays atop the pack there. They're 11-1-1. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep is 6-1-4, and Flint Powers Catholic 9-2-2 headline. Obviously the top 3. They've been that way for a number of weeks now. Momentum teams: Elk Rapids 8-2-3, and Ann Arbor Green Hills 5-2-1. Both own quality wins and a few blemishes. Classic and Greens for a 1-2-3 line nudge. Again, you see them there in the top 5. Middle Churn coming, though. The 7-13 band is tight. Swan Valley 6-2-1. Grand Rapids Catholic Central's 4-2-2. And they're separated by thin margins. Any single result could obviously reshuffle that group. Honorable mentions: Ovid Elsie is 10-1. Fenville 6-2-2. Look most ready to maybe break in. Again, Country Day, Notre Dame Prep, Flint Powers Catholic, Elk Rapids, and Green Hills are all in the top 5.
And so I'm being around the Mount Pleasant area. I'm recognizing some of these schools. Freeland, that was about 40 minutes from Mount Pleasant. Alma, that's about 20 minutes from Mount Pleasant. So good to see the middle of the state getting some love. And I will say, Grozeal, number 8, my mom's side of the family, does not like. They had a little bit of a rivalry with them. So downriver as well.
So as we continue on now here into Division 2, we see here that Unity Christian, Hudsonville Unity Christian, co-headliners, right? Along with Forest Hill Central. We had Paul Kramer here on the show here a few weeks back. Paul Kramer's a great coach, great team there.
Had a great backdrop as well for that
Yeah,
interview.
they are 12-0-2, and for Hudsonville Union Christian is 7-0-2. They have the volume to win, the volumes of wins to argue for number one, but expect a photo finish here at the end of this as both these teams look to stay clean. Climbing profiles on New Boston here on 10-1-1 and Warren De La Salle 10-3. Read like they're steady risers, while Cranbrook Kingswood is 7-1. And continue to round into shape. The watch list, though, Edwardsburg 8-1, Allendale 8-2-0 have records that typically squeeze programs up in the 8-12 range. Your honorable mentions: Hamilton 8-2-1, Melvindale 7-2-1 carry next in resumes. Again, your top five: Hudsonville Union Christian, Forest Hill Central, New Boston, Huron, Warren, De La Salle, and Cranbrook Kingswood, all in the top five there for Division 2. Take a look here now at your Division 1. For the Michigan High School Boys Soccer Coaches Association rankings. Portage Central continues to set the pace. They're 11-0-2. They headline the pack with Ann Arbor Huron 9-0-1 and Clarkston 9-1, anchoring a firm top three. That trio looks every bit like regional number one seeds in the waiting. Trending up here is Heartland 13-0-1, has the state's loudest unbeaten drum. Results like that typically by upward mobility, even near the top five. Solid resumes, though. Traverse City West is 10-1-2. Byron Center 10-2-1. Carry double-digit win totals and profiles that usually nudge programs a line or two higher week to week. On the bubble, dangerous honorable mentions: Saginaw Heritage is 12-1. Livonia Stevenson is 9-1, and both look poised to re-enter or jump within the 15 if form holds. Your top five: Portage Central, Ann Arbor Huron, Clarkston, Okemos, and who's 8-1. Now, here's the thing, too, I think is important. Royal Oak, by the way, sitting there at number 6. This is a team that plays in the OAA White. They've beaten Troy Athens, and they've had a lot of success here going on here in the early going. That is a team that was not ranked here 2 weeks ago. They bounced in last week, and now here they sit at number 6. So they're officially in the top 10. That is a superior rating for that team.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that you kind of see always around Traverse City West. UD Jesuit, we had Aaron File was his name, correct? Yeah, had him on the show a couple weeks ago. Shout out to him, his side doing really good. I know they came off an impressive win right before he came on the show, and then Romeo had a chance to play them a handful of times. They're always a tough side to beat, but shout out to the MAC as well. But there is some really, really good teams that I played against while in high school as well. So these are some really good schools, and it's always a very, very tough division in Division 1, just like all these divisions. But Division 1, definitely the toughest one, I would say.
Royal Oak right now this season, they are 9-1-0. They've beaten Novi. They've beaten Birmingham Groves. They've beaten Grosse Pointe South. They've beaten Farmington. They lost to Country Day, who's currently ranked number 1 in Division 3. They lost by a score of 1-0. They beat Rochester 3-0. They beat Brighton 5-1. They beat Troy Athens 2-0. They beat Farmington 8-0, and they've beaten Rochester Adams 3-0. They face Bloomfield Hills here tomorrow, Stony Creek on Thursday, and then on Saturday they face Birmingham Seaholm.
And that was just Royal Oak?
That's just Royal Oak.
Wow.
This is a team that, and a couple years ago, they were having a really good season. They ended up losing to Berkeley in a district semifinal match. We actually covered that on our platform. But I'm very interested to see how this thing will shake out. But Royal Oak, man, they might be a sleeper team here. It's a really good team. So it's a very interesting way. They're currently right now, if I look at their MPR, they're 637. I'm curious how that ranks amongst the rest of the MPR right now.
But that's a really impressive resume. That is some really good teams that they have beaten and defeated and played, and that's what I've always liked kind of with as a high school coach is the coaches that kind of schedule the tougher out of conference. Tougher non-conference games because ultimately, again, you make the playoffs regardless, and that's a different argument. But kind of playing those tough teams, kind of setting that bar, kind of knowing what your team's level is going forward, and you can kind of work on things as the season goes on because you got to win. Tournament starts in October. Playoffs start in October, so you got to start winning in middle October. That's where you kind of make all your money, and is in the playoffs. And playing those tough teams early on kind of gives you a little bit of a benefit because you get to know where your team's at, what the level that ultimately you need to get to in order for you to win titles and win districts, regionals, and eventually a state championship.
So Joshua Irwin on YouTube was just stating that watch out for Royal Oak. Yes, sir. No open play goals allowed so far.
Wow.
If you look at so far, if I'm looking here right now, and I'm not going to necessarily add these up, but they allowed a goal against Detroit Country Day.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed a goal against Brighton.
Okay.
Every other game, they have not allowed a goal. And so that would mean that they would have out of their, so they're 9-1. So that means they have, 8 shutouts then? They have 8 shutouts in their 10 games and have only allowed 2 goals. Meanwhile, 3, 6, 10, 13, 18, 28, 31 goals for.
They have a plus 29 goal difference in 10 games?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's I'd like to see these guys up in person then. This is if they're as good as advertised. I'd like to have a chance to watch them play, but that's a really impressive resume. And not only the teams that they beat, but how they're doing it. No open play goals all season long. I imagine those are probably PKs. I would imagine they are. But man, that is still an impressive feat for them.
It is. They play tomorrow night at 7:15 at Royal Oak, and then they play at Stony Creek here on Thursday at 7 p.m. And then they have a noon kickoff against Seaholm at Seaholm on the 20th. So yes, they are rolling right now, and we appreciate your comment, Josh Irwin. Nonetheless,
shout out.
Hey, if you want us to come out to your game, let us know. Our rates are very reasonable. And we could absolutely come out. We would put it on our YouTube channel, MI Sports Network. It'd also go to the NFHS Network, but we could absolutely call that game. We've already called the Bloomfield Hills High School game. We started this whole network based on high school games and the amateur environment. And obviously, we've grown into a much larger platform now where we're covering games all across the country. Doesn't mean we still can't come out to you. So if you'd like to have us cover your game, by all means, let us know. We can absolutely do that. And we'll go from there. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to dive into some not breaking news. There's an interesting story out of Farmington Hills, Michigan here this weekend. And then we'll dive into some of your questions and comments and then question of the day. But don't go anywhere. Right back here on Inside the Game.
The Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins MLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game on this Monday morning. Last segment here of the day. We had a chance. It was funny. Ryan was here yesterday. We were doing the hockey broadcast yesterday, and he was talking about this really cool story that took place here in Farmington Hills, Michigan. I want you to lead in with the story. It was your story, so I figured why not you explain it to our audience?
Yeah. So my mom was actually explaining it yesterday morning, and this kid, a 4-year-old, accidentally called, I don't know if it was accidentally, but just called 911, and he just wanted to talk to someone about the game of soccer, of all things. These 2 4-year-old boys right here, they wanted to talk about soccer, and then talk about just other things. So the cops, not being upset about this situation, because obviously you can't just call 911 just to talk. You have to actually have a reason for it. But the cops, not being upset, they stopped by for a birthday party for the young boys, and they had a police-themed birthday party. This took place all in Farmington Hills, Michigan. But, I mean, if they wanted to talk soccer, they just could have, became a guest on our show, and we could have had them talk about soccer with us. But
absolutely.
But that's a great feel-good story to have, especially with the way the world has been going recently. But, great to see that there's still some love in the air.
Definitely still some love in the air. Really, really cool story. And again, I think the cool thing about, we talk about this all the time, sports can be something that brings people together, right? And regardless of how, it can bring people together, and that's really, really cool thing. Hey, we're on TikTok. We're on Shorts. First off, if you're currently watching right now, Dan is saying good morning from Indiana. Hey, if you are looking to we would love to read your comment off. If you have a question or comment about anything related to soccer right now around the country, whether it be the World Cup, doesn't matter. Now's your chance. Let us know here in the comments, whether on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. It does not matter. This is the time that you can get those comments in. We'll address them, and we always love having you a part of this process. So if you are interested in having your comment, us talk about a question, now is your chance. And so, I'm just putting that out there, everybody, as we speak.
So a couple of questions before we get into question of the day. Posted this video on Friday. Josh Sargent just won Player of the Month in the EFL Championship. First American ever, mind you, to do so. And I also did a little bit of digging. No American has ever won the Golden Boot in the EFL Championship, and Sargent's got a shot here. But Jeff said hopefully he can bring that success to the national team. I'm rooting for him. And this is a question kind of want to dig a little bit deeper on. This guy named Grans said, championship level player, don't see anything more. And then I said, championship league is still a competitive league. And he responded with, not when it comes to playing at the World Cup level. Championship is nothing like the World Cup, and we'll be getting humbled yet again. John, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know if the word humbled is the right thing. I think for us to be humbled, you have to be in a different place. I think humbling
we have to
would
be
mean
good.
You have to be good, right? You have to put you in your place. I think that the way that the Detroit Pistons, humbled the Los Angeles Lakers back in 2004, that'd be a good example of that, okay? But the U.S. men's national team is not in a place right now where they would be humbled, okay? The right word would be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I think that's the correct way to explain it. And so here, listen. Hey, the fact that we have a player, an American-born player, who is playing well overseas to be acknowledged as a player of the month is fantastic. And I said this before. I said, is this an anomaly, or is this something that we're going to see consistently out of Josh Sargent? I don't know how we did this weekend. I know we saw Pepe score 2 goals, right?
Yes.
Right? So I know we saw that. I don't know how Josh Sargent did. It's going to taper off. You can't be scoring 5 goals in 4 games and expect that to continue. Okay, this is not going to happen. Okay, so eventually people are going to figure out how to mark him, and he won't be able to score as many goals or have the same kind of success. But I think it's great, and I'm hopeful that it will continue. But we saw him this past week on the field for the U.S. men's national team. It didn't really shake out very well. So how do you do this weekend?
All right. So first off, an American did score in this game. It was Haji Wright for Coventry City in the 96th minute to make it 1-1. But I'm just guessing this was a horrible day for Norwich City. Sargent did, in fact, start this game. He did get subbed off. But I think it was an overall bad day for Norwich. Listen to these stats. 4 shots for Norwich City, 1 on target. How many shots do you think Coventry had all game?
What was the score again?
1-1.
1.
28 shots for Coventry. 4 were only on target.
Wow.
But 28 shots to 4. It seemed like Norwich was really just dominating this game, especially in the possession numbers, 65-35. So we're going to just chalk it up to a bad day all around for Norwich City. They do have Wrexham this Saturday at 10 o'clock. So that'll be an interesting one. A lot of American features. But I'll say this. I would much rather have a championship player in my side. Like if we were just judging it based off leagues here, I would much rather have a championship player start for me than an MLS player, regardless of what the form is or anything, because the championship, I remember we did this show, or we did a topic on this maybe like a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, about the top leagues in the world. And the championship, though it's a second division league in England, is one of the best leagues in the world. It's definitely the best second tier league in the whole world, and the fact that we have a player dominating in this type of a league shows us something. Obviously, he's not going to be a Ballon d'Or winner. He's not going to score 10 goals in a World Cup tournament for the U.S. That's not the case. But if we can, I still think Sargent could be more of a backup player, and I still think Balogun's the starter. But if we can bring in Josh Sargent as a backup kind of in the 65th, 70th minute of a game, and maybe he kind of bags a goal. But if you look at all these goals, they're all kind of, he creates for himself, or he kind of just gets in the box, right spot, right time. And that's what we need from a backup player. And I'd much rather have a championship level player in Josh Sargent coming off the bench for us and creating an impact at the World Cup stage.
No, I don't dispute that at all. We do have a comment coming from TikTok. Dan from Indiana says, "What are your opinions on the refs or referee program in the U.S.?"
That's a you question.
I know, right? It's like, here's the thing. Just like across the pond, where you have players who are going there to get the best, we probably need referees going there to get the best too, right? I mean, to be fair, right? But let's be honest. I mean, the EPL has its share of problems, right? The championship. Like they have their share of referee problems, and they're considered to be the best in the world, right? I mean,
Arsenal always gets hosed.
So my point is this: I think the referee program can always be improved. I think that there's always ways for us to improve. So if we sit here and say, well, the referee program is exactly where it needs to be, that's not the case. I can tell you from someone who refereed for over 20 years that the referees out there that want to be, who are the ones who are doing these trainings and are doing the high level matches, the ones that are investing in the education in themselves and the time and the things necessary. Those referees care, and those are the referees you want. I was here yesterday, and I watched a referee outside our building here, just outside in the distance. I don't think he moved more than 4 feet in the entire game. He is not the referee we're talking about, okay? We still need that referee, because at least the game can still go on. But the referees that we're talking about that are refereeing at the highest of levels in this country, those referees give a shit. They give a damn. And they're working their tail off, just like the Josh Sargents of the world. They're working their tail off. They want to be in the World Cup. They want to be in the MLS. They want to be in the NWSL. And so, but it also takes time. It takes experience. I was just... my daughter's swim team had a player last year that graduated. She's now a freshman in college, and she became an official for the Michigan High School Athletic Association here just recently. And you can see kind of like already where she's at, right? She's very new into this, and she just learned the rules and the laws, or whatever you want to call it. And what is she doing? Just like a police officer, just like maybe even a new judge. It's like the letter of the law. The law is written this way. I'm going to read it like this. I'm going to apply it like this, right? So very new into your world, what do? That was a disqualification. I'm going to disqualify that person. I'm going to DQ them. This person DQ'd 3 swimmers on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
I've been watching my daughter now for 3 years in swim, and I haven't seen someone DQ'd yet.
Oh, wow.
Except now. This is the 3rd DQ. So what does that mean? It means she is following the letter of the law, right? There's a thing called the letter of the law, and then there's a thing called the spirit of the law. And with experience, you start to understand that while there's the letter of the law, but in the best interest of the game, you apply the law in the spirit of the game. And so that's why sometimes we don't see hard, yellow cards coming out 2 minutes into a game, because it didn't necessarily meet the threshold for the spirit of the game. And so that's an important, I think, delineation between the newer ref and the more experienced referee. But as a former referee who reffed at a high level, I can tell you that I was only as good as my last game and as good as my last call. And referees are their own worst enemies. And so I think that as long as we have human beings doing this and not robots, you're going to always have this thing where you're like, is that a good call or not? I mean, we saw that handball that, again, I laugh about it still to this day, the quintessential handball. I'm sorry, but that's a hand. I don't care how the law is written. In the spirit of the game, in the letter of the law, that should have been a handball. And you can't tell me as a former referee that doesn't pass the litmus test for a handball. So I think absolutely the referee program can get better, but I think it's way better than it's ever been, and it will continue to get better in the future. What's our question of the day?
Yeah, our question of the day, but before we do that, let's give a shout-out to our sponsor, Salt Athletic, who's an official sponsor of us here at NSN. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off your order. Scan that QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. And, John, you don't know this question of the day, but this is a Gio Reyna question. He was interviewed this past weekend about if he was going to make the men's national team roster going forward, and he dug a little bit deeper into why. But this is just the basic question of the day. Oh, almost missed a button there. Will Gio Reyna be on the U.S. men's national team World Cup roster?
All right, so this question was asked if he thought he would make it, and what was his answer? I'm curious his answer.
He said, so he's been talking with Pochettino, and he talked about how he was in the middle of a move to Borussia Mönchengladbach, where he is right now, and he basically said if he continues to play well, he continues to improve, he will be on the roster. He said if he plays well, he will be on the roster. However, he's been kind of out of the loop since the Copa America last year. And I personally think that Gio Reyna, he'll sneak in. I think he will sneak into the roster, and he'll be a part of it. Again, it depends kind of how this October and November camp goes and who they pick for it. And ultimately, I think who's ever in the mix in October and November, you will see at least in the conversation of making the roster. I'm not saying I don't want to put into any input on who was in the September camp because I don't necessarily think that is the final roster of the cuts of the roster. I don't think September has anything to do with it. Just because a couple of players like Musa, for example, Anthony Robinson was hurt. Musa was in the middle of a move to Atalanta, which he completed. So I think whoever is in the October-November camp, and I think Gio Reyna will be a part of one of those. And whoever's in that, you will ultimately see in the World Cup roster, or at least in the conversation in the spring.
Okay. So we have Gio Reyna saying that if he plays well, he'll make it in. Gio Reyna will not be on this 2026 roster.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. And here's why. It's the reason why Berhalter's not here anymore. Right? I mean, what we saw from Sebastian Berhalter wasn't. I don't think he's got a hope in hell. I know we saw him twice, but I think that's just us trying to figure out whether or not he can make it or not. I don't think he's got a chance. I don't see Gio Reyna making this lineup, this roster. I think we have a lot of other players who don't come with baggage.
Yeah.
You know, if we're talking about winning a World Cup, well, again, we're not winning a World Cup. Let's be out. Let's just
maybe make the quarterfinals. Maybe.
How do we? How are we successful? We can't have cancers. You can't have cancers in the locker room. And Gio Reyna comes with that cancer. He was basically sent home from the last World Cup. I mean,
pretty much.
And we live in a world where people don't forget that stuff. And if he was a player that was performing at a high level, you can forget that stuff. You can forget that nonsense. I mean, we can talk about over time. I mean, there are a lot of players in the history of not just soccer, but any sport that are nonsense. They come with baggage. They are whatever. There's a reason why Colin Kaepernick's not in the NFL. It has nothing to do with his stance for his political beliefs. It's because he wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. They figured him out. It's like, you're just not that good. You were quick, and we figured, for a season, he was like, whoa, and then people realized that, okay, and then he's not going to be as good anymore. I mean, I'm a firm believer that coaches want to win football games and coaches want to win soccer games. They want to win, so they want the best players. And sometimes the best players come with the most chaos. And they come with the most nonsense. And so Reyna comes with that, but he's not performing. And so when you don't perform, I don't care how good you're supposed. You know what? He has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm. Still does.
A lot of potential. He has a lot of potential. But just like my teacher said about me, you got a lot of potential, John. If you paid attention in class more, if you studied more, if you studied a little harder, you have your potential. And so I think that's an important thing to say. But no, I don't think Reyna will make it. There's still a lot of question marks about who will. But I don't think. And again, I'm happy to be proven wrong, because if Reyna makes it, that means he's stepping up.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's not even starting right now on his team. Right. And so that's a factor. Right.
Yeah. We're
only seeing the
22.
likes of Josh Sargent, right, who's starting in games. Right. And Josh Sargent and him are all on the same age. Right. I don't think there's a huge separation in their age.
I think probably by a couple of years.
I thought Sargent was about the same age. Maybe he's 23. I don't know the exact age, but it's a
25.
25. So it's 3-year difference. Okay.
So Sargent will be 26 by the time World Cup starts, and Reyna will be 23 by the World Cup start.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And then looking at Borussia Mönchengladbach lost 4-0 yesterday to Werder Bremen. Let's see if Reyna made it out onto the field. He was not even on the bench. Joe Scally was. He was on the bench. Did not make it. But I do want to read the quote right before we head out. Reyna said yesterday, "I believe I will be there. That was one of the reasons for my move to Borussia Mönchengladbach. I'm in open contact with the coach, Mauricio Pochettino. If I play well here, I will definitely find my way back to the national team. I'm now at a point where I want to take the next step and take my career to a higher level. I feel ready for it. That's why I came to Gladbach."
Well, good for him, and hopefully it works out. I just don't know if it makes sense, but hey, good for him. I think the last thing that you want to do at any point in time leading up to a big scenario is to make a significant change. And again, there are many reasons why you might make a change, but it's too late for that change. I mean, we're talking about you're less than 6 months away. What is that? He's not even playing right now, and so I don't know if he was playing a lot at the other environment either.
Nottingham Forest, where he was on loan.
Yeah. So again, if you wanted to actually have a chance, I think him coming home to play in the MLS would be the best one. I'm saying that because he's an everyday starter in the MLS. He would start in every game. Again, you're talking about he's a bench player, 19th on the roster, where he's at now, 18, 17, 16, right? You're telling me he's not in the starting lineup for an MLS side here in the United States?
No, he's definitely a starter, but it's more of what he wants in his career. He's 22.
Yeah.
Still long ways to go. So I think maybe.
No, I'm just saying if you want to make this World Cup, I'm not talking about, yeah, you're right. He still has a couple more World Cups in him.
Yeah.
But if you want to make this World Cup, if you want to do everything you can to get to this World Cup, if you're making a change, you're making a change to go play every day.
So last season for Dortmund, he played in 16 games, started 3, played 350 minutes, no goals.
It's not enough.
No goals or assists, I don't believe.
It's not enough. You got to be playing like 700 minutes, 800 minutes in a season to get to where you want to go.
Yeah,
at the minimum. I mean, Josh Sargent's playing every game. He's played how many games so far this season? 10? 9?
Sargent, I think he's at 8.
So if you're averaging 50 minutes a game, you're at 400 already. And so I don't know. I think that yeah.
He's only played 6.
6. So he's probably averaging 50 minutes a game, give or take.
Probably.
So you're 240 minutes already, 6 games in. So, but that'll wrap up here today's episode of Inside the Game on this Monday, September the 5th. We'll be back at it here again tomorrow. We were supposed to have the NC State's head coach here this morning. The Wake Forest head coach, not NC State. Apologize. Tony Delarose. He did not make it here today. He'll end up rescheduling, I think, for next Monday. So we'll give that a go here next Monday. But we have a great rest of your week lined up here. We'll continue to try to find more guests, exciting guests here to be on the show. Nate Wengler should be on tomorrow in the morning. We're waiting to find out any more details about that. But if not, me and Ryan will be back at it here again tomorrow for 1:59. So don't go anywhere and get prepared for that broadcast here tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. here Eastern. Maybe slightly over, depending upon how we go, right? Maybe slightly over. But we're excited to have you nonetheless. Don't forget, subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family. Got a busy week of action here coming up. We'll list out our entire schedule here on our website and through social media out the rest of the day. Have a great rest of your Monday, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow here, same time, same place on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.